Hi! It's Kral Space. It's Kim Kral. And this is Kral Space. I'm reporting to you live. Not live. I just want to be live in my closet. One day I'll have the capabilities to be live in my closet. I do definitely cut it short because I want to release these every Wednesday at noon. And I cut it very short. It's like 11 right now, and I do this for an hour. I don't know. Hi, guys. It's Kim. I'm back. I felt... Oh, boy. I felt that last week I wanted to sit back and, it just didn't feel like a business as usual type of week. And it still doesn't really feel like a business as usual type of time, really. But I thought that I had someone message me and say, you should still release Crawl Space on Wednesday because your voice matters too. And it's so interesting to me that they took it as me thinking my voice didn't matter. No, not at all. I've worked very hard, in therapy and 12 steps to know that I have, I matter. But that's not what that was about. It was, I just didn't think it was a time for me to sit in my closet and tell you all about all the blowjobs I've given where people are literally getting murdered in the street by police. I don't think I always tell you about all the blowjobs. If I told you all of the blowjobs I've given, never mind. I don't think it's been that many. Who knows? I have made out with a lot of people. A lot of people. It's bananas. I don't have herpes. But wow. But yeah, last week I just thought, I don't know. And I'm sad. I'm really sad. And I don't know how this is going to be so clunky. I'm not great at, I'm getting better at expressing myself in times like this. I just felt that it was time to give, not time, but I just thought talking about dicks in my closet was not the time. And, this week maybe I'll talk about some blowjobs. Who knows? I feel like in all of this, it's important to also have balance. I found last week that during the whole pandemic, don't get me wrong. I understand we're still in a fucking pandemic. I feel like people have forgotten that or got bored, but my cat is now interested in scratching on the door. Cool. And it's so hot that oh my God. He figured out how to stick his hands through the closet. It scared me so much. Oh my God. He have you, the nightmare I don't know if everyone's had this nightmare, but I have for sure my whole life. When you put your foot off of the edge of the bed, you're like, oh, I can't sleep with my foot off the edge of the bed because then the monsters will get me. Now, as a rational adult, you know that monsters aren't real, right? There's not a literal monster under your bed. But it was ingrained in your childhood brain so much that you're scared of that. So when I'm in the closet, I do have this weird fear of someone grabbing my feet. Who? I don't know. But just now, my cat just grabbed my feet. Oh my God. Let's get back to it now. And also my other cat she's scared of me. So I can't fix her. So she's 2 and she hasn't been fixed. Now Henry's fixed. But she literally won't let me, oh God, she won't let me touch her. So she's just now crying. So if you hear her in the background, that's my God. And I'm told she'll calm down. It's once a month for 3 days. We all understand that means she's in heat. And if I get her fixed, she'll stop doing that. But she just wails for 3 days. And it's annoying, but it's also so sad because I think she's uncomfortable. So if you have any tips on how to catch my cat that was feral, I got her as a feral kitten. When I got her, she was just too young to fix when we took her to the vet. So and then by the time she was old enough to fix, she won't let me near her, except for when I sleep. When I sleep, she cuddles with me. But once I wake up, she darts under the bed. Actually, the pandemic has been really good for us. She's opened up a little bit more. So I'm thinking I might be able to get her after all this. But yeah, as I was saying, in the pandemic, again, I understand we're still very much in a pandemic. Thousands of people are still dying a day, which is fun that I decided I needed to look into those numbers every day. But during the pandemic and the stay-at-home orders, I was productive. And, it was just okay, well, the best thing I can do is stay home and just work on myself. But after the last 2 weeks, man, I don't know. And that's what balance is important. The last 2 weeks, I've spiraled out into a depression. It's just been, And I realized after a couple of days, after a week or so, I was like, dude, I got to put my oxygen mask on first. Like, if you've ever heard that saying, there's a reason when you're crashing in a plane, they tell you need to put your oxygen mask on before you can help anybody else. And so in life, you need to put your oxygen mask on first before you can help anybody else. And I just realized balance. And so though I will be touching on, the Black Lives Matter protests and movement on this episode, I also will have some balance, because I know that it's a hard time. It's a fucking hard time, man. Like, lots of people are dying. We have a monster as a president. Like, it's just like, I don't know how to talk to people who still support him. I don't know how to, like, it's just like, are you watching the news? And not Fox, man. Fox News doesn't play anything. It's so funny. Not haha funny, but like, you watch, like, all the news stations are showing this like massive thing, and like Fox, I mean, I don't know what they're showing now. I haven't watched them in so long, but it's just like, I don't know how to talk to people who support Trump. He's insane and a monster. But yeah, I've never really been a political comedian. I've never, I think growing up, politics was always such like a hot button topic. And I know a lot of families have that, but like, my dad was super Republican, and most of my family's pretty Democrat, and he would fight with them. And like, my uncle and my dad would get in like bad fights, like where we'd have to leave at like Christmas because there was like a fight over it. And I get it now as an adult. Like, my dad passed, as I've talked about in this, and I would have no idea. Like, I remember the day, I just burped, Jesus. I went to, like, I'm so grateful. I'll do my one lucky broad. This is going to be my one lucky broad at the end, and maybe I'll reiterate it again. I'm one lucky broad. If you're new to the podcast, this is Kral Space. I'm Kim Kral. And every episode I do, I'm one lucky broad, and I talk about something that I'm really grateful for. And I implore you to do the same. Like, it's amazing how that shifts in your life. Just stepping back and looking at what you have, instead of what you have not. Like, it just shifts. And I know it's easier said than done sometimes, but I try to do 10 things I'm grateful. I do 11, one for good luck, because I'm quirky or corny. I don't know what I am, but I do that every night. And sometimes it's like, oh my God, I'm so enlightened and I'm so balanced and I have all these beautiful things to be grateful for. And then sometimes I'm just not feeling it, and I have to literally be like, I have food in my stomach. I have a shelter. Like, it's like bare minimum, But I'm one lucky broad. I was raised in a home. And I wonder, my dad passed, and I wonder how he would feel about Trump now. I mean, he hated Hillary, so I know he wouldn't have voted for her, but like, and he's like a ticket Republican, which is so stupid. It's so stupid. Like, I'm just going to vote for whoever's on the ballot. Like, I don't know. But I was raised in a home. It's so hard to admit. I was raised in a home that like, my dad was a pretty big misogynist, and, I mean, he would say, I remember my mom was an insurance agent for a long time, and like went to school and like got her license and like worked really hard. And it was actually kind of a big deal because my mom has a pretty bad substance abuse issue and also is pretty mentally ill. So the fact that she was able to like stay sober and get this, like, I mean, I don't know how hard it is to become an insurance agent, but I know it was something that was to be proud of her, And I got in this car accident, and this woman, there was no damage done to either car or anything like that. And like 4 months later, this woman claimed that I like hurt her neck, and then she tried to like sue me, and like my insurance company contacted me. It was such a mess. And I was talking to my dad, and I was like, I think I'm just going to call mom because she's an insurance agent and she probably will be able to tell me, at least guide me what to do in this, right? And my dad's response was, oh, honey, your mommy's nothing but a secretary. And I know some people listen to this who, don't have these opinions of my father. And, I will just say this to you, like, it's my experience with him. And if there's backlash, there's backlash. And if you don't want to hear my experience with him, because he wasn't the Messiah you all thought he was. But, if you don't want to hear those experiences, I don't know, mute me sometimes, because that's, and so, yeah, he was a misogynist, and he told me that, literally told me once that God made Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve. that being gay was wrong. And like, and I remember I found my uncle's boyfriend when I was a kid passed away. And that's when I found out that my uncle was gay, and how he told me it was just like this weird shame around it. And like, I still remember how I felt, and I still have so much like, oh, like I like, it's so funny. When my dad passed away, he was talking about how close this uncle and him got. He's like, yeah, we're really close now. I think he got that chip off of his shoulder about being gay. And I was like, no, Dad, I think you just stopped being homophobic, man. This is such a hard thing for me because I know that uncle is listening. And I don't know, I'm glad my dad was able to open up his fucking brain a little bit. But he taught me that abortion was wrong and women shouldn't have this autonomy, and illegal immigrants should stay out of the country. Like, I mean, he taught me all of that stuff, and I'm grateful because I have, for some reason, and I don't know where it came from, I have an open heart. And I went to college, and I'm grateful I met these women. I met Jenny, Rain, and Sarah. And if you guys listen, you know who you are. I'm eternally grateful for you guys. Like, oh God, I might cry on this podcast again. I'm so grateful for you guys because, I was 18 and I was raised in that type of home, and I came to college and I was spewing hate. And instead of you guys, rejecting me or dismissing me, you saw that I had a heart that was open, and you educated me, and you talked to me about, tough stuff like back alley abortions. And I'm not going to educate you. If you believe all this stuff that I was raised in, and now you're like turned off by the things I'm saying, like, I implore you, just open your heart, open your mind, crack a book. Like, just because someone doesn't look or act like you does not mean that they're bad or they don't deserve the rights and like the same rights as you do. It's insane. And like, this whole movement, I just now got to call someone a Karen for the first time. If you don't know what that is, I think it's just a knock at a white lady who, needs to talk to the manager all the time. Or, it's just like, I don't know. This is the prime example. I got to call a woman a Karen on my Facebook. I went to the Black Lives Matter protests in Hollywood this past Sunday, and there was 100,000 people there. That's what they estimated. 100,000 people there. And not once did I say, and yes, I understand what the media is portraying, but I also understand there are some, there are some ugly people that are taking advantage of this, or were. The looting, I believe, is completely done, but we're taking advantage of this beautiful movement. And never once was there any violence. I never felt unsafe. People were wearing masks. We were just marching, and we were just hoping for a better future. And if you don't understand that, crack a book. My God, look outside of your small town of, all white people. Like, I understand, like, I've met so many people like that in my life, and the ones that, like, I don't know, just open your goddamn hearts. But so I posted the photos of that, and I tagged a guy in it who I marched with, a comedian friend of mine, and who I marched with, and one of his Facebook friends was like, let me get this straight. So all of you guys could get together for this, but my son wasn't allowed to have a graduation because of coronavirus. Are you kidding? First of all, what a bizarre hill to die on. Like, I can't imagine not being able to see the difference. Like, your kid not being able to, like, go to a graduation, and human beings being murdered in the street by police officers. You're comparing that? Like, what I find so beautiful about these protests is that people know the threat on their lives of going, like, I know the risk of me going out there and protesting with all these people, but the Black Lives Matter protests and the movement is much bigger than this. And like, it's scary, sure, and I'm washing my hands and everyone's wearing a mask. But like, the fact that you're comparing your kid's graduation, which also leads me to another point. If you're like, because it's so interesting how there's like there like the difference in signs. And if you've opened the internet a little bit, you've seen the haircut protests, those fucking bullshit. Such a bizarre, I just can't wrap my brain around those people. Like, First of all, I've said it before, if you protesting getting a haircut, you're ugly. You're ugly, and the haircut's not going to fix you. Like, I haven't had a haircut in months, and I look just fine. Like, and we're saving lives. So stay the fuck inside. But like, and then there's, I need a haircut. Stop ruining my senior year. And then there's, please stop killing us. I hope my unborn son is safe in the streets and doesn't have to worry about being murdered. Like, I don't understand. And I promised this whole thing wasn't going to be about this. So I am going to leave on the, so I just said, get off my timeline, Karen. And I felt so alive. But I understand that a high school graduation is sort of important. Like, it's important to graduate high school, but like, if you're worried about your kid missing out on this memory because that was one of your top memories in your life, that's so sad. That's so sad. I think my high school graduation is probably, I don't know, my 10,000th favorite memory of my whole life, probably even lower. Like, if you're like if you have a kid that's graduating high school this year, you're probably around my age, maybe a little older. And if that was like the highlight of your life, you peaked in high school, and that's a real bummer, dude. And you should go out and open your mind, crack a book, I don't know, go on vacation to take a road trip. I don't know. But if you're like, this ruined my kid's life that he can't go to his high school graduation because 100,000 plus people are dead in our country right now because of this virus, and you're like, his life is ruined, that's a real bummer, dude. That's a bummer that you don't wish more for your child. That's a bummer that you don't have better memories in the 20 years since you graduated high school. But like, Jesus, I don't know, man. I'm going to shift gear. But so I am one lucky broad that I have had people in my life that that educated me and opened my heart and my mind, and that I have an open heart and an open mind, that I'm able to change. Like, that's, I think a lot of people are scared of that. Well, what if I do? I saw my best friend's wife posted that she was one of the people that said all lives matter. And she's like, and now after, everything that's going on and opening the internet and reading, she's like, I've changed my mind. I was wrong. And I think it's okay. I know it's okay to say you were wrong. I know I went to college believing that I was pro-life, like, get out of our country, being gay is wrong. Like, I went to college that way, and I was able to say I was wrong. And like, and it's okay to like, and don't judge people by their past beliefs. Like, if they've changed their mind, don't be like how people are like Biden in 1992. I mean, don't get me wrong. Biden's kind of a mess, but he's our guy, man. So just hop on board, and we're voting for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That's who we're voting for. But like, and possibly one other one. But like 92, so he's changed. That's good. That's a good thing. He evolved. So like, instead of like chastising people for their past opinions, maybe be like, oh, he evolved. And maybe like, it's just, I don't know. I feel this is another reason I didn't really want to do a podcast last week too, because I knew I was just going to rant and rave in my closet. But I got to call someone a Karen, and that was really fun. I wonder what her response will be. I don't know. I'll probably just block her. I don't get into Facebook arguments. Another guy wrote on one of my things. He's like, what's the goal at the end of these protests? It's just like, oh God, I'm not going to do the work for you. Literally Google. There's history books. Jesus Christ. All right. I'm going to breathe. If you're still listening, I promise I have a bunch of fun stuff I wanted to talk about. Oh, we'll do the poop scoop now to kind of switch things around. The poop scoop. This is one of my favorite, and it's not my story, but man, this is my mom's story. And I made my mom tell me this story, I don't know, upward of like probably 4,000 times in my youth, because it made me laugh the same amount of hard every single time. I don't even know why. So and this goes to tell you, everybody has pooped their pants. Everybody. And if you haven't, your time is coming, and there's no shame in it. It's all right. I mean, I'm not saying just like go around and shit your pants because like everyone's doing it or everyone's done it. Like, make sure it's for sure an accident. Don't, in sixth grade, I had a laughing and peeing my pants problem with thankfully a couple of other girls. We laughed too hard and then we wet our pants. Probably far longer than we should have. I think I've already talked about this. Those poor women are so upset that I don't have a big platform, but it is sort of growing, and I will never stop talking about wetting my pants. So those poor women are probably like, why did we become friends with her? Like, I met their husbands, and that was when they found out that their wives had peed their pants till they were like 16. And they were like, we kept that from them. And I'm like, really? That's like something I open up with on the first date. Probably why I don't have a husband and they do. But grant you, the one divorced her husband because he sucked. And then the other one, they seem pretty happy. I don't know, though. I don't really talk to her anymore. But I'm saying, whatever. So if you haven't pooped your pants, your time is coming. And it's okay. It's all right. It's like admitting you're wrong. It's fine. It's just a rite of passage of being a human. Saying you're wrong and shitting your pants. That's it. I could just end right there, I feel like. So when my mom was in the first grade, she went to school one day and she was real scared of her teacher, right? Like, she was really, like, I guess her teacher looked like a big bird. Not like Big Bird, the Sesame Street creature, bird, but like a human bird. Like, think of the movie Cats, and how they made like Taylor Swift into a cat and you have nightmares about it sometimes. Make that into a bird, a human bird. Okay, so she looked like a human bird. And my mom was so scared. And I just got a weird text. And now I'm like, my friend had a freak out about unemployment. And I'm unemployed too. And since no one it's still hard to get a job right now. It's all gonna work out, but I need to like say it out loud, otherwise I won't be present here with you. It'll be fine. I'm not gonna text her back, but it'll be fine. We'll all be taken care of, or we won't. That's another rite of passage. We die. Just kidding. That's really dark. So she was really scared of her teacher, her first grade teacher, and so she went to school one day and she had really bad diarrhea, and she was like scared to ask her teacher to go to the bathroom. And so she's sitting there and she's like, she thought she was holding her breath and holding the poop in, but really she was holding her breath and then just shitting her pants. Holding her breath and shitting her pants. And she said she just remembers the little boy next to her just staring at her because she smelled so bad because she's just sitting there shitting her pants. And the teacher finally was like, Terry, honey, do you need to go to the bathroom? My mom was like, yeah. And it's so sad. It was much funnier when I was a little kid because it was to another little kid. Now I'm like a full-blown woman and I'm like laughing at a little kid, and I'm sure this really traumatized my mom forever. Actually, my mom was really funny and she told this story. It was very funny. So like, it probably just made her funnier, dude. That's what I think. Every time I've shit my pants, it just makes me funnier. So the teacher goes, Terry, honey, do you have to go to the bathroom? And my mom says she stands up and there's just like a trail of piss going down her leg and just like a big pile. I never asked her if there was like poop on the chair or she had pants on or if she had like a skirt or a skirt on or shorts. I don't know if there's evidence, but she said she pooped her pants pretty hardcore, so I'm guessing there was evidence. And you don't come back from that. I mean, my mom was already pretty weird, so she probably didn't have a destiny of being the most popular girl in school, but you for sure don't come back from that. She said when she was in sixth grade, she was fighting this girl, which leads me to believe my mom was a little bit more popular than she thinks she was, because like nerd girls don't fight nerds. I don't know. That's like a popular girl thing, right? I don't know. Maybe that's a weird guess and generalization. Who knows? I used to get in this fight with this girl, Misty Knoll, and I wasn't very popular. Misty Knoll and I would get in a fight in the morning and we'd be like, yeah, at lunch, we're gonna fuck each other up. We're gonna fucking fight. And then we'd get a bunch of people like gathered around, ready to like come to the fight at lunch. But by the time lunch rolled around, Misty and I had made up. So then we would just fake fight out in the playground. And we did this numerous times, and I don't think anyone ever questioned it. I wonder where that girl is now. You ever think of people from your past, and you're just like, you think about, oh, I want to talk about this dude from my high school. And there's people from my high school that listen to this, and if you know where this dude is, I'm trying to reconnect with him. Not in like a sexy way, not in like I've been pining over him for 20 years, but I'll tell the story in a little bit. I want to finish my mom's sixth grade. So my mom got in a fight in the sixth grade, and but they're not fist fighting, they're screaming back and forth. And finally the girl goes, oh yeah? Well, at least I didn't shit my pants in the first grade. And my mom was like, yeah, I did do that. So that's my poop scoop for the week. Again, please DM me your poop stories. I would love, love, love to hear them. I've only gotten one DM for poop stories, and that was a brave soul. And guess what? I didn't say his name, and he got to be on Crawl Space. I don't know if that's a claim to fame, but maybe if this thing blows up, one day he'll be like, I was on like the 3rd episode of Crawl Space. So high school, I've been talking a lot about high school. I love that it just happened with the woman in the graduation. Again, I say this all the time. I'm so happy I didn't peak in high school. Like, I was nerdy, dude. I don't know if I was nerdy. I've been thinking a lot about this. My senior homecoming date, his name was Courtney, and we're still friends on Facebook. And he was from another school. And by the time my senior year rolled around, I was cute, but like the damage had been done. You know what I mean? Like, at my school, I was already the girl with no teeth, the flat-chested, gangly girl, wasn't allowed to shave until she was like in 8th grade. You know, like, just like, I mean, the weirdo, the Peter Pans quite a bit. I mean, just like the list goes on. The dolls. I brought dolls to school a few times, more than a few times. So like by the time I was cute, the damage had been done. But I met this boy, Courtney. I don't remember where I met him. I think my friend Catherine was dating his friend, and he was like the hot kid from like the Christian school, and he went to homecoming with me, and he was like my first kiss of like a boy I liked. And it was like such a weird, I remember he was like, if like, I count this as technically my first kiss. I'll tell you about my other first kiss in a minute. It's sort of, it's par for the course. It tracks for my life, but just awkward and weird and just like, okay. But this is like the first kiss that I kind of count as like the first real one, because it was like the first, boy I liked. And we were at Clements Park, I think it was called, in Littleton, Colorado. And it was nighttime, and my friend and her boyfriend were off wandering around. And Courtney pulled out a quarter. This is so cheesy, and I still don't really understand it. It was cute though. He was like, I bet you this quarter I can kiss you without touching you. Oh, and I remember how nervous I was. I was like, how are you going to do that? I'll take that bet, or something like that. Probably not as smooth as that. It's probably like, here's some drool. And then he leaned in and kissed me. And then he said, you won the bet, and gave me the quarter. How cute is that? Yeah, I think I dumped that kid because he kept calling me during Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That makes no sense. There's a lot of weird shit going on in my home, so I pushed away a lot of really good kids when I was in high school. I had a very scary home life, and it's funny, I'm going through a lot of therapy right now, and like doing a lot of self-work, especially in the pandemic, like just really taking the opportunity to just like get to know myself and like work through trauma. And that's like a grief, like I'm grieving that part of my childhood that I didn't get a lot of those. I know they're normal, but like magical high school moments because of the environment I grew up in. And so Courtney has been a lot on my mind because I pushed that poor kid away. He took me to my senior homecoming, and Catherine and Aspen and I can't remember which friend, but we thought it would be really funny to go to Wendy's for the dinner. And I remember this poor kid like meets my dad for the first time, right? And like my dad's like, so you're taking my daughter to Wendy's for her senior homecoming? And I'm real proud about it. I'm like, he sure is. And Courtney's like, it's not my idea. I wanted to take her to a nice dinner. I'm like, but we're going to Wendy's. And like, I don't know why I thought it was so funny, but in those days, like I just wanted to do anything. I mean, still, I want to do anything for a goddamn laugh. But I am like looking back on those, like, I pushed that kid away because my home life was so scary, and allowing someone to possibly see what was happening was just, it wasn't even on the table. Whew. So Courtney, if you're listening to this, which I doubt you are, you have like six kids and a wife or some shit. I don't know. We're friends on Facebook. I probably know this information, but like, no, it wasn't personal. It had nothing to do with you. I'm sure he probably has completely forgotten about the whole thing, but I've been working through past stuff. What a weird thing to bring up in here. But my very first kiss, guys, my very first kiss, I was a junior in high school. It was at a Halloween party. My stepsister had just moved from Kansas City in with my mom and stepdad. I had no friends. All of my high school friends had stopped being my friend at this point. They weren't very nice people, so it was sort of a blessing, because then I ended up making friends with Catherine, who, you know, was a best friend for like 20 years, and we still keep in touch. You know, one of my favorite human beings to ever laugh with. So it worked out, but like it was a rough time. So I didn't have any friends, and so my stepsister moves and goes to my high school, and she gets invited to a Halloween party. So she lets me tag along. So not only do I go to a it was a freshman Halloween party that I was not invited to. I dressed as Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh man, I had a big steak. I had what I used to call my Buffy boots. I loved those boots. When I wore them, I felt like I could conquer the world. Like, basically, we'd walk down dark alleyways, and I'd be like, I got my Buffy boots on and my steak. I got this. So by Halloween costume, I also mean I wore this outfit, steak included, more than I am proud of. More than I am proud of. I still have some of those steaks in my Buffy box. What's a Buffy box, you ask? It is a box full of all of my Buffy memorabilia, which it weighs more than 2 human dead bodies. Because dead bodies weigh more than alive bodies. I don't know if you know that. Fun fact. So it was in a game of Spin the Bottle. I'm sitting there with a bunch of freshmen, and my first kiss was this kid named Trent, who was openly gay. And really, kudos on Trent, because that was the late 90s in Littleton, Colorado, and he was like the only kid in our school like that. Maybe that might be wrong, but like he was out, and he was my first kiss. And we're still friends on Facebook. I wonder if he listens to this, because like, dude, I bet you have no idea that you were my first French kiss, except for like, you know, when you're like a kid and you practice on your girlfriends. But like, my first boy kiss was with a freshman while I was dressed as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he was not straight. So he had no interest in kissing me. But that was my first kiss nonetheless. And then Courtney was the first kiss of Jesus. Oh man. It's so funny, because like the other day I was with my friend Stacy, and she was telling me that she was pretty certain that I was a mean girl in high school. She's like, you were probably popular in high school. And I was like, I don't think I was. And then I told this story, and she was like, yeah, if someone told you were mean to them in high school, you were popular and you were a bully. I don't think that's true. I think there was one girl who was super nerdy, and she was really mean to me. But she was like mean to me about how like everyone always talks about you. Who knows? I don't think I was popular. I definitely, guys, I asked my best friend Katie, like, I don't know, a while ago. I was like, I don't think I was popular. And she looked at me and she goes, didn't you play dolls till you were like 16? She's like low key, very, like, she's one of the funniest people I've ever met. And when you meet her, she's kind of quiet, and people are like, Katie? I'm like, oh, she's one of the funniest fucking people I've ever met. Her kid is my best friend. And I was like, you've been replaced. Your kid's my best friend. And she goes, wow, not sad at all. A baby and a cat. And I was like, so mean, but so funny. But she was like, I don't think you were probably popular. Didn't you play dolls and wet your pants till you were like 16? And I was like, touche, Katie. But when I was in college, I ran into this kid in like, it feels like it was a bathroom, but that doesn't make any sense because it was in the 2000s, like early 2000s, and unisex bathrooms were definitely not a thing. And, but we ran into each other somewhere publicly. And I think I was just like, oh, hi, nice to see you. And like something like that. I just didn't use his name. And he's like, my name is Daniel Dorr. We knew each other, and we're from the same high school. You know my name. You don't have to be mean to me anymore. We're in college now. I think it was Daniel Dorr. I don't remember. And I remember being so stunned because I was like, I have no idea who you are. Which is so funny because like one of my high school bullies, or who I always thought was my high school bully, is one of the biggest fans of this podcast. So it's just, the moral of that, and maybe this whole thing is like a high school. You can thank the Karen who just pissed me off right before I came on here. But like, maybe this whole theme is just like, if you peaked in high school, there's still a whole new world out there, and you can change. Because it's like, I guarantee you, I went to my 10-year high school reunion, and it was so much fucking fun. And like, I remember I was doing a shot with this guy's wife, this popular dude's wife, and him. We took a shot, and he's like, he also listens. How fun is that? He goes, we do the shot, and he goes, oh my God, you were so fun. Why weren't we friends in high school? And I was like, oh, you were super popular and I was ugly. And he's like, oh, right. But like, not in like a hard feelings way. Like, I wasn't like, you were mean to me. It's just like, I don't know, man. If you're still holding on to shit from high school, Spank your inner Moppet. That's a Buffy quote. God, that's so embarrassing. I quote Buffy a lot. But you know, like, work on your shit, man. Like, that sucks, but we all, you know, got bullied at some point, I think. I mean, some way more than others, for sure, but like, I don't know. My first kiss was in a Buffy the Vampire Slayer costume as a junior in high school at a freshman party with a gay kid. So that you know, we all have our, I was not a popular lady. I don't know what I'm saying right now. I'm actually impressed that I've been able to like not get through this. It's not that this is something to get through. I love doing this podcast. I love this podcast, guys. I miss it. It feels weird to be in my closet. But like, I don't know. The state of the world has just got me down, man. And just sending love to everybody, dude. And you know, love each other, educate yourself. If you don't agree with this, I know I'm back to the movement. It's going to be hard not to talk about for a while. So that's I'm in a 12-step group, and one of the main traditions is not talking about outside issues, right? And people are getting so upset because people are talking about it. And it's not like anyone's in the 12-step meeting going, fuck Donald Trump or anything like that. But people are talking about their experience and how it relates to them and their, you know, childhood trauma. And it's just like, this is going to be the forefront for, and if you're like mad about it, maybe, just maybe open, you know, take 10 minutes to Google how you might be wrong. I've done that before where I'm like, I just don't see how I'm not wrong in this situation. And I've opened the internet and I've asked a few people and I've kept an open mind. And guess what? A lot of times I'm like, oh, I was wrong. And that's okay. It's okay to be wrong. Okay, I wanted to talk about Brian Hodges. So if you are listening to this and you went to high school with me and you know Brian Hodges currently, I have been trying to get a hold of this guy for the better part of 15 years. Hear me out. That sounds so sad. It's not. Brian and I, oh God, I had such a crush on him. And I think we really liked each other our senior year. I know we did. I know we liked each other. Again, though, I pushed away. I couldn't handle intimacy, any kind. I had, you know, I've mentioned on here before, and maybe I've been talking about my dad and his beliefs, and some of the stuff he taught me at the beginning of this podcast was really hard because now it's out there. And I think a lot of people don't fully know how much his opinion. I mean, I don't think my dad had hate in his heart. I think he just was ignorant. I think he was ignorant and stubborn. And, that's a awful combination. But so I probably at some point, I keep promising this talk. I mean, I don't know if anybody really wants to hear all about my trauma and my childhood. It's a rough one, man. It's a rough one, Mr. Crunch. But I really like Brian, and thankfully Brian would just be my friend. And he and I would talk on the phone all night. And we became close like the second semester, I want to say, of freshman year or senior year. And then we hung out all summer before I went to college. And then when I'd come back, we'd hang out. I found out later, my crazy father, Brian, tried to get my phone number up at college. And he called my house, and my dad was like, "Who the hell is this?" And like hung out, like he was a crazy person. And Brian never called me, and which sucks. And then when I moved to Los Angeles, the night before I moved to Los Angeles, we packed up the U-Haul and I stayed up most of the night, and people were coming and going. And Brian was so scared of my dad, he told me. So he calls me, and it's, late night, and he's like, "I want to come say goodbye, but I'm parked at the end of your cul-de-sac. Can you come get me? Because I'm scared to walk." Because my dad, my aunt, and uncle were standing outside with the music blaring with the packed U-Haul, right? And they're like, "Can you come get me?" Or he's like, "Can you come get me at the end of your cul-de-sac and walk me to your house? I want to hang out with you." And I was like, I think my dad will have less respect for you if you can't walk up here on your own. I do not remember if I went and got him or if but he and I did spend a lot of that night together, and not in a sexy way, in a very friend loving way. But I think we always had, and how I know that it was mutual is, I went to LA. I moved to LA, and we stayed in contact a lot, called all the time and text all the time, because texting started becoming a thing. And then one day, maybe a year into me living in LA, Brian texted me and said, "I am dating someone, and it's not appropriate for you to call me anymore." And that was it. That was 15 years ago. maybe 17, how many, 15 years ago? I don't know. I'm bad at dates. The time doesn't matter. Like, it's not real. I don't know if you know that, but I think if anything 2020 has taught us, time isn't real. But that was it. I didn't ask why. I didn't. And now I think, looking back, I knew that, like, we had something more than just a friendship, and it probably was inappropriate if he was trying to get to know someone or date someone. I know if I was dating someone and they had the type of friendship with another woman the way Brian and I had, I would, even though we never kissed, it never got sexual, any of that stuff. I was a virgin before that, like when Brian and I stopped talking. And, I don't know. So I've looked for him, not looked for him like actively, but I'll Google him every now and then or try and look him up on social media. I'm not shocked that he's not on social media. He was never, when I don't find him every time I look him up, I'm not surprised. He always, he was such a good looking kid, such a moral, sweet person, played golf, was like on the golf team at school and like got pretty good grades and like had all the makings to be like a really, really popular kid, but he just marched to the beat of his own drum. So like, which is something that I always liked about him, because I certainly did too. And then cut to like 10 years later. So like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, I was offered a reality show, or offered an opportunity to be on a reality show, and they wanted a story of a misconnection or someone that I had lost touch with from my past, that maybe there could be something romantic there. And like, it's not that like I had to like think about it, because I had an ex that lived in New York, but like I was like, oh, maybe that guy, but I knew that guy was like in a hardcore relationship, and very hardcore relationship. I don't know what that means, but a serious one. And so like I knew that was, so I had to rack my brain, but I always think about Brian, and I always wonder how he's doing, and how awesome would it be to like go to Denver and have a drink with this guy and hear how he's lived his life the last 15 years or so. I'm sure he's married with kids, and like, just I wonder where he's at. And so if you know him, tell him Kim Kral. Maybe don't tell him Kim Kral still thinks about you. Maybe don't say that. But you know what I mean? Like, somehow message me and help me get in touch with him. So I told this reality show this story, right? And I got like, and again, like the only reason why I pushed it is because it was like $1,000 a day for like 2 weeks of filming or some shit like that. That's like $14,000. So I was like, that's great work. And if I get in touch with my friend Brian again, of course, like I got so far into the process, like where like people were coming on and listening to the story of Brian Hodges and I, and like how sweet it was. Cause it really was. It was such a sweet friendship. And like these casting producers have tears in their eyes, and like, what if he's the one? I don't believe he's probably the one. I mean, who knows? I don't even know if that exists. But like, he's like, they were like, we are going to get in touch. But the preface was, we have a private investigator. This is so crazy. This is how nuts Hollywood is, man. I'll tell you, I got a sidebar. I hope you all can keep up. Again, if you've listened this far in my podcast, like we're episode 11, you have been able to keep up. My brain is like bees. A bag of bees? Is that what you said, Ray? Another shout out, Ray Mondragon. And my friend Ken Gar says that my brain is like jazz. I think both of those things are a compliment. It means I'm weird, and I never want to not be weird. Oh yeah, I got a casting. This is how weird Hollywood is, dude. I got a casting notice the other day that said, "Are you in love with your cousin? Do you have romantic feelings about your cousin? Do you and your cousin have a forbidden romance?" I wish I could bring it up, because maybe I will. I think I can bring it up. Because like I'm not doing it justice, but I was like, what the fuck? And I want to send it to my cousin Bill, because we always joke around. I think a couple episodes ago I told you about, please tell me I didn't delete this. Oh man, if I deleted this, that's such a bummer, because that is something, guys, I deleted it. But I talked about that boyfriend I had a while ago. I mean, like my junior year of high school. Slept with his cousin, half cousin or some shit. And Bill and I were talking about it. We're like, how does that? He's like, well, we were really drunk. And Bill and I are like, how has that happened? Bill and I have been drunk together so many times, and we weren't like, we've danced around this long enough. So I wish I would have kept it, because I wanted to send it to him. And then we also have this inside joke where we try to convince our other cousin Adrienne that Bill's in love with him. are in love with her. I don't know why, but I find it very funny. And she's just really like, she's just really like normal. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like me and she's really normal. And like, so it's fun to be like, oh man, Bill has not stopped talking about you. And I'm like, Bill, you could really help. I don't know why. I'm weird, guys. But so Hollywood's fucking weird, dude. So it was like $14,000 for 2 weeks. They got a private investigator. So they're like, the preface is like, the only reason you won't go forward in this and we won't film this with you is if we're going to get a private investigator, we will find Brian Hodges. And unless he's dead, which God forbid, that would be awful news to hear. But or he's he's happily married or just married. Maybe that you can't find out if he's happily married. Like, well, he seems like their marriage is pretty rocky. Let's mix shit up. It wasn't that kind of reality show, but it was like, if we contact, so two things, if we find him and he's married, you will not hear from us again. Or if we contact him and he does not want to see you again, you will never hear from us again. So I never heard from them again. And, which is sad. I don't know. I mean, I don't believe that if he wasn't married, I don't believe that maybe he was like, no, I told that bitch to leave me alone 15 years ago. What the fuck's she doing? Maybe he'll hear this and he'll be like, oh my God, I told you to leave me alone 15 years ago. Again, let me tell you, I am not pining over this dude. It's just, it's so funny how high school, I don't know, I've been working through a lot of old stuff and working through patterns and trying to change generations of beliefs, my house, my home and my family and generations and literally rewire my brain. So I'm going back real deep, man, bringing up a bunch of stuff. So you're about to hear all about my childhood in Kral Space. We'll still talk about sucking dicks. God, I haven't sucked a dick in a while. It's been a while. I haven't had sex since November. I mean, to be fair, I thought I was getting to know a guy and that we were not, there was never talk that it was like, oh, this is exclusive, but it definitely was we are getting to know each other and this is something special. And so I'm I'm a non-multitasker in terms of if I like someone, I don't know, but I'm not dating for a long time, I've decided. So I may go till November with no sex. Who knows? Or maybe in lockdown. Oh man, this took a turn. I am so hot. It is so sweaty in here. It's like 90 degrees outside. I have no pants on. But so again, I'm not pining over Brian Hodges, but I will say if we did go to high school and you know who he is, or you do still keep in touch with him, I don't know. Tell me how to get in touch with him, or just tell him, I don't know, think of something cool and say I said it. Well, that turned for a weird turn. I wanted to also tell this story that I've been thinking about for a while. So, a year or so ago, I accidentally set my thumb on fire. If you must know, I was lighting a match after either me or Henry took a particularly stinky poop. Which, if you don't know, who did I tell this to the other day? And their mind was, oh yeah, Malone. He's going to be on my podcast. I'm working on the Kral Space Live. Michael Malone's book comes out today. It's called Dead Serious. Fucking get it. I got to read it. I'm gonna buy a hard copy, only if he promises to sign it, which of course he will. But he's gonna be on the first episode of Kral Space Live on Dash Comedy. The goal is Monday. Wish me luck. I have to make a theme song, and I don't sing, although I've sang a couple of times in this episode. But I told him in there about lighting a match and how it gets rid of poop smell, and he's like, I've literally never done that or heard of that. So here's a poop life hack. If you poop and it smells, light a match. It doesn't work with a lighter. It's the sulfur that interacts with the gas, and it eliminates the smell like that. So I don't remember who took the particularly stinky poop. It was Henry or Kim. I don't know. I won't use the third person again. I apologize. But I lit my thumb on fire, and I didn't think I was ever going to be the same again. My thumb was on fire. I had to put it out. I don't know what I had touched or whatever. It was a wild couple of days. But I don't know what I had touched, but my fucking thumb was on fire. And then it smelled so bad. I mean, so bad. I couldn't stop smelling it too. like, you know when something smells really bad and you're like, smell this, it smells bad, and you just like can't get over something stinking that bad. It smelled so bad. And then I was bartending, and these two, I don't know why I'm whispering, this isn't anything, but I got real calm. I was bartending, and these two dudes came in, and they're brothers, and one was smoking hot, so hot. We used to follow each other on Instagram, then he stopped following me, and I was like, fuck that hot guy, and I unfollowed him, and now I regret it, because he was like so hot, but like angry, you know what I mean, and drank too much. So I was like, Dad, that's my type. If you drink too much and you're mean, I'm like, Dad, love me, Dad. That's so sad. Obviously, I have dad issues, though. Obviously, like if you're listening to this, like my dad issues have dad issues. So calm down. But he was so hot. But his brother was cute too, but he was super weird, and I was telling him about my burnt thumb and how I didn't think I'd ever be the same again. I think I asked him if they wanted to smell it. Maybe that's why they don't follow me on Instagram anymore. Asked him if they wanted to smell it. But the weird brother said this, and I'll never forget it. You ready for this? He goes, quote, I'm going to try and quote it. It's been a while. He was like, quote, "It's a shame that we have evolved as human beings to not like the smell of our own burning flesh. It's a shame that we as human beings have evolved to not like the smell of our own burning flesh." What the fuck? I was like, I'm weird, man. I'm real weird. I don't think I'm that weird until I do something in front of people and they're like, you're really fucking weird. And I'm like, oh, this is what normal humans do? I don't know what normal humans do, but when I'm marveling at the weirdness, it's fucking weird. I think I was just like, on that note, I'm going to do a shot of tequila. Would you like a shot of tequila? Strange man and his hot brother. But I think about that guy once a week. I wish I still followed him. I think that's our episode, guys. This has been you know what? Honestly, I think this is how it's always going to be. I think I've cried on almost every episode. Poop all over the map. You have some homework, if you're angry at the protests, crack a book, please do some, just open your mind just a little bit. There, you're allowed to evolve. You're allowed. It's cool. Other homework, if you know Brian Hodges, look him up for me. Let's find him. It'd be fun to connect with an old high school friend. If anything, again, I'm not like he's the one. He's for sure married. He stayed in Littleton, I'm imagining, and everyone who stayed there definitely got married at 25. And there's no offense there. We all have, our paths. But so crack a book. Send me your poop scoop stories. Sadly, I'm not running out of times I've pooped my pants or embarrassing poop stuff, but it'd be nice to mix it up and tell one not of myself. And so crack a book. Send me your poop scoop stories. Help me find Brian Hodges. Those are your homework for I don't know why I'm giving you homework, but that's fun homework. I mean, besides cracking a book, but maybe you'll learn something and maybe you'll teach and maybe we'll change the goddamn world. Oh, yeah. This was a fun episode, guys. It's really fun to be back. As I said, I am working diligently. Well, that's a lie. In the last week or so, I have laid in bed and I've either been in the streets protesting or crying in my bed watching repeats of Lost. That's my weird comfort blanket. I don't know why, but that's what I watch when I'm sad. It's got to be Matthew Fox, man. Jesus, he's sexy. But before that, and starting again today, I'm back diligently working on Kral Space coming to Dash Comedy Radio. There's so much fun stuff. My first guest is Michael Malone, and our conversation, I'm going to release the whole interview, but then, it's going to be, if you listen to it live on Dash, hopefully by next Monday. I turn 38 next Thursday. My birthday is next Thursday. I'm having a rough one with this birthday. Not a rough one, but just I think it's just all the work I am doing that I'm doing a lot of grieving about a lot of missed opportunities and people I've pushed away and all that stuff, So I think the birthdays, I don't look my age at all. I look a decade younger at least. That's what people have told me. I'm not bullying people into telling me this. Most people are really shocked to find out what age I am right now. But I'm having hard time with it. So I would be really, my goal is to get the first Crawl Space live out before my birthday. That is the goal. I've got a lot of really fun guests and a lot of really fun stuff in the works. And as always, this is Kim Kral. If you get a chance and you like this, please give me a rating review. I got a couple 1-star ratings, no reviews, but 1-star ratings, and it really fucked with my ego. So if you're listening and you like it, do you want to go on and just give it a 5-star review and maybe a rating and a review? Yeah, that sounds so desperate, but then we can counteract. I mean, who knows who gave me the 1 stars? It could very well. There was a girl who tried to ruin my life for the better part of a decade. Probably her. So who knows? Although when I saw the 1 stars, I was like, yeah, I made it. Like, like if everyone likes you, you're not being true to yourself. That's my opinion and a lot of other people's opinions. So if everyone liked me, I wouldn't be ruffling feathers, or I wouldn't be making any differences or changes, or being myself. And so I was kind of excited about the 1-star review, but I prefer to have more 5 stars. So if you like this and you get a second, it means so much and for other podcasts that you listen to too, it takes like 2 minutes and it just means so much to us. And it makes a big difference in getting the voice out there and getting the podcast more circulated in the mainstream, which will be fun. And, you can follow me on all the social media, KYMKRAL. Crawl Space is out every Wednesday at noon. And that's it. I will see you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.